Welcome, soul healers, to the Heart Led, Soul Fed podcast. I'm psychic medium and old soul Christine Gold. This is a safe space to explore all things mystical and magical, embodying practical spirituality and truly reclaiming who we are at a soul level. Living this lifetime heart-led and soul-fed. Subscribe on your favorite way to podcast and let the healing begin. Hello, everyone. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. This is episode 278. My gosh. I was just talking to the guest earlier about, this almost been 6 years. It's mind-blowing. And as I'm having a shower, when you have those shower moments, I think there's actually something I heard about, shower thoughts. Really, if I want to be a centenarian, I have 50 Christmases left. Whoa. And then I'm like, why stop at 100? I'm going to go way past that, 120, 130. Who knows? Right? I'm not in control. So, anyways, thank you so much for being here. Today's guest is all about the angels, and I'm all about practical spirituality. And today is all about learning about the angels and how to bring, down to earth angels. We all are earth angels, but we also work with the angels, the angelic guidance. So if you love angels, my gosh, and you want to learn more, you're in the right place. So enough of me talking as per usual. I'm just going to welcome my guest, Christy Forsyth. You do the introduction. Where in the world are you, and who are you, and why are you here?
Hi, I am from Elmira, New York. Let me just, hit that do not disturb. Oh, it's supposed to be on. Okay.
The
So
angel's
yes,
confirming that. Yeah.
yes, I
Yes,
do
you
the
are.
star thing too. Yeah. So I call myself a soul therapist. My background is in mental health counseling, so I'm a licensed mental health counselor. And I bring that together with some of the things that I've connected with a little bit later in life. So I am an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. I help people with their energy field. I work on energy and help people to understand their energy. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I bring all of that together. I'm a certified life coach as well, all of that together to offer what I call soul therapy, which is this intuitively led life coaching that helps people to master their energy field, connect with their intuition, to deepen their connection to their spirituality, their spiritual process, and to live a life that is more purposefully led.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's the times we're in.
Yeah, we
And
need it.
don't be shy, guys. If you have a question for Christy or for myself or just in general want to share, and I will let everybody know hello. Gitte. Gitte is from Denmark, and she's a wonderful supporter of our show. Thank you for being here. And I know she loves angels as well. So, where
All
are,
of
yeah. So,
it.
maybe do you want to talk a little bit about the angels and
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
there's
So
maybe some mysticism or
yeah,
questions?
I first of all, I want to say that I love that you call this down to earth angels, because that's exactly how I talk about the angels, how I teach about the angels, because I think that we have this ability as human beings, this tendency as human beings to make things more complicated. Spirituality we make so complicated, and angels we make so complicated too. And it's so interesting because I find that so many people feel led, they feel drawn to connect with the angels, to work with the angels. They're feeling that intuitive prompting, but they don't explore the idea much further because they get caught up in the idea that it has to be this specific way. I have to know all of the angels or what angel to call on, or I have to know all about them in order to start working with them, to start inviting them in. And from what I've been shown, that just simply isn't true. And we get to just simplify this process. And so we could actually keep this really, really short if we wanted to, in that understanding that when we start to set the intention that we're ready to connect with the angels, when we start to ask for help and say, I would like to connect with my angels, I would like to receive help from my angels. So it is, it's done, right? And it really gets to be as simple as that. So if people don't take anything else away from this, I think that's the important thing, is all we have to do is ask for help. All we have to do is invite that in and set that intention. And immediately we are connecting with the angels, and we're working with our angels and receiving that help from our angels. So I think that that's a really great place to start, because it does get to be down to earth and easy as we work with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
so we all, a lot of people will ask me about, like, so, but well, you have angels, right? But maybe I don't have angels, or you've seen and connected with angels, but I, maybe I don't connect with angels. And from what I've seen, and I'm curious, like, how you've experienced it too, but I always see that people have an entire spirit team with us. We never come here to earth without help and without guidance and without support. And some of the members of that spirit team, we have spirit guides, we have other things, but we also, every single one of us, have angels, and they are just the most incredible energy. They are here to help us. They're here to support us. I always say that angelic energy is really just an extension of God's energy. So it is this absolute pure love, pure light. And you can really feel that when we're connecting with the angels. And so each and every one of us has these angels on our spirit team, and they're here simply to be our own personal angels, to help us to navigate this thing called life, and to support us with everything that we intended to do before we even came here, and everything that we're needing help with while we're here.
Yeah, wonderfully said. An extension of God.
Yeah. And that's what they
Yeah.
feel like. For anybody who's felt angels, I would be curious, like, if people in comments have had that experience of feeling the angels. It's just such a powerful, beautiful experience. It's like this love that washes over you. Um, so beautiful.
Absolutely. And I just asked, like, who are your angels? And I mean, they could be here on earth, or they can be your angelic guidance as well. So, and
Yeah.
and then I'm sure you get asked about archangels, because I tend to work with archangels quite a bit.
Mhm.
Archangel Michael's my guy for
Mhm.
sure. That tends to be my number one. Then I tend to work with Raphael and Gabriel, because I do a lot of speaking and I do a lot of healing. Now, when I want to go supernatural, I bring in Metatron.
I work a lot
Did
with
you want
Metatron.
to?
I would say front and center for me is Metatron in terms of the archangels that I work with. But I also work with the other three that you talked about. I work a lot with Raphael and Metatron.
Wonderful.
And
How about
Metatron for
the
me,
audience listening? And what archangels do you guys work with? Let us know. Anyways, sorry. Continue.
yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So for me, Archangel Metatron, like, whenever I'm connecting with him, this is such an important angel for me, us to be connecting with right now, because we're in this time on the planet where the planet is ascending, where there's so much light being poured onto the planet. And there's this whole process and plan that is developing and happening and moving along, and Metatron is really leading that entire process, leading so many people into their spiritual awakening, leading us into a deeper connection with our spirituality, a deeper connection with our higher power, all of these things. And so this whole process is being led. And that's so much of the work that I do, is work with people through their spiritual awakening or through the different levels of their spiritual awakening. And so Metatron is a big angel that I like to connect with that helps to guide that entire process.
Yeah, Metatron. I mean, Metatron is just um, like the umbrella, I want to
Yeah.
say. When
Yeah.
you're talking about levels, or you're talking about auric fields, or I mean, Diana Cooper is someone I really connect
Mhm.
with as well, and she's taught me a lot about angels and with unicorns and elementals and the realms and all of that.
Mhm.
Now, I know there are a lot of us. You're talking about spiritual awakening. You had yours. And I work with, well, I call it the dark night of the soul. That's usually the people that I work with that are going through that, or tend to keep having this recurring past life trauma, intergenerational trauma, which we're all, collectively going through right now. So, how did your spiritual awakening start? What was your
So
catalyst
my
or
spiritual
your
awakening
push
started
off
in a
moment?
way. My spiritual awakening started in a way that's very similar to how I see a lot of people's spiritual awakening start. It started with discomfort. It
Yeah.
started with me being in a place where, I was just kind of going about life and in a job that at the time felt pretty fulfilling for me. And really, I would say like my life, I was sleepwalking my way through life, right? It just like every day looked
Mm.
pretty much the same, but was kind of blind to that at the time. And then all of a sudden, I started to recognize I'm changing. Something's changing within me. And the things that were in my world started to get really uncomfortable. And it was like first
Yeah.
very quiet, and then it just developed and developed. And that discomfort got stronger and stronger until I started to look around and say, there's got to be more to life than this. There's something that I'm needing. There's something that my soul is calling for, and I don't know what this is. So I started to just tune in with that and listen to that. And what happened is I started to pray, and I started to say, okay, God, I don't know what this is. I started to like reconnect with God on a whole new level, but please show me the way. Please lead me, which is so important for us to just invite in that leadership and that help. So I started to ask for that. And that's exactly what I got. And that came in the form of really important conversations that I had with people that started to allow me to expand my mind and starting to understand manifestation. And really quickly, I found myself starting to tap into some intuitive abilities that I had connected to as a child and pushed away, and then had connected
Mhm.
again in my really late teen years, and again had pushed away, and started to reconnect with that. So through that, I started to feel like, okay, like I need to understand what's happening for me. I need support. I need help, because when I had started to connect intuitively in my late teens, I started to have really scary experiences with that at the time. So I was starting to see
Mm.
like darker energies. My vibration was not in the greatest place at that time. So I was starting to see dark things in my room. It was starting to feel really scary for me, feel really heavy. I also am very much an empath. So I was like, just, I opened wide open when it was absorbing so much. And I didn't know at the time, like all I had to do was set some boundaries with these energies, and that only work with the light and things like that. So I shut that
Amen.
down. And so when I stepped into my spiritual awakening, I felt like I've got to do it right this time. I need to get some support with this. And I was really being led with that anyway. So I started to see auras around people, and I started to connect with angels and to see angels at time. So I started to work with some people that could help show me how to manage this time. So they didn't feel this need for the third time around to shut this down and to ignore this, because it felt like something that I was being led into and something that I really needed to honor and explore. And so it's a long story, but really one thing led to the next and led to the next. And I got to this place. I was working at the time as a mental health counselor, feeling really uncomfortable in that work that I was doing. And I now understand that why I felt so uncomfortable was that, number one, I was needing to connect spiritually on a deeper level and allow myself to honor that. But also, number two, that I was connecting with these gifts and I was being called to connect with these gifts. And that really I was being led and called to help people in a different way now. And so that's why that became uncomfortable, right? I have always been a helper and a healer, but I was being shown now it looks like I need to do this differently. So as we are in our spiritual awakening, it oftentimes leads us to make changes in our lives. The things that fit no longer fit for us. And so I got to this place where it was like, okay, I need to help people in a different way. What does that look like? And that led me to ultimately creating the work that I'm doing now. I started to just do that a little bit on the side and let that grow and let that develop. And now I have been doing this for, I think, like 8 years now, 7 years now, doing that full time and have been able to make that full transition into that. But it was just like this call and me honoring the call and listening to my intuition and letting that intuition guide me every single step of the way through my spiritual awakening.
Yeah, the divine breadcrumbs or breadcrumbs from
Yeah.
spirit,
Yeah, that's
synchronicity.
what I would say
Yeah.
too. Breadcrumbs. Mhm.
Except you were paying attention and you had the 3 I see the 3s are really significant for you. You had, like, 3 pivot points in your life, and
Yep.
I understand about the child and then the teenager. Totally shut it down because it scared the but not only that, I was all we were not also we shut down by family. We don't talk about that.
Mhm.
That's crazy, right? That too. So then it would
Yeah.
manifest I don't know about you, but it manifested for me as, I'd get sick a lot. I had a
Mhm.
lot of earaches because clearly I was clairaudient, not that seemed to be the biggest one, but I get a lot of earaches, like ear, throat issues because I wasn't
Mhm.
able to it's just interesting how it comes back and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I get it now. I get it now," but now you're here to help guide people through that, which is amazing because there are so many people coming on board, especially right now, and especially before this, that eclipse coming up on April 8th that everybody keeps talking about, how everything's going
Mhm.
to be dark, and it's just in the Schumann's resonance, it's a whole thing. A lot of people are feeling very unstable. A lot of
Mhm.
people are feeling very euphoric. So it really just depends. Gitte is just talking about the angels. She says she doesn't have a clue about the names or anything. She just feels them and she trusts the right one is helping me when I ask and pray for help.
Well, I love that you said that, Gite, because that's exactly what I encourage people to do. I love to work with the archangels, and I'm aware of specific ones that help with specific things. But even for me, this is again how I like to simplify things. But even for me, I feel like if we just are putting the intention out there, if we're saying, angels, please help me with this, that God knows who to send in. Like God will send the right man in for the job, the right angel for the job, right? And
The
so
right
if we can kind of
contractor,
just
I
trust that
call it.
process, yeah, it becomes really easy. And then we don't need to have a master class in what angel does what and feel like we have to like get that right and call the exact right one in because then we can just allow that help and support. There's so many different angels too, not just the archangels. And so they all help with different things and all do different things. So when we just are really simple with that intention, we can actually
Mhm.
allow for more angelic help with that because the right angels will come help support us.
Yeah, and that is an ego. I call it an ego mind trick,
Mhm.
meaning you have to have everything perfect. You have to know what the angels do and all that. Unless you're becoming an angel expert, sure, go for it.
Mhm.
But don't get lost in all the details and perfection and, "Ooh, I didn't get it right." You're basically dismissing, the beautiful gifts and miracles that are already within you that are coming and you have no idea where they're coming from, but it doesn't matter.
And they're just so happy to help. right? So many people are like, well, I don't want to bother them, is what I hear from people a lot. And
Oh gosh.
it's not like that. They're so happy to help. That's what they're here for. That's their purpose. That's their role and what they're here to do. So actually, I always get this sense when people are here with me and they ask for the first time for help from their angels, I always feel like this sense of a celebration that's happening because they're like, finally, I've been sitting here bored. I wanted to help you. So ask for help, even for the littlest things. I call in the angels to help me with the absolute littlest things because I know how excited they are to help and support. It
Yeah,
just
and
makes
we're all in this. Yeah, we're all in this together, and we're all walking each other home. And I always, for me, it's always, when I'm going out, like cars, planes, just anywhere. That's my biggest thing. Or when I'm eating, making sure it's the highest nutrition. Gitte, is she talking about Azrael? Ars Kiel? Is that a name of an angel?
I'm not
Is that
familiar with that,
Azrael?
but Azriel, I'm wondering if maybe that's what
Yeah.
you
She'll have to look that up. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
but it's very possible that that is one. It's just not one that I've connected
But
with.
that's interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. I, have a lot of people stumble upon some of my angel
Okay. Well,
videos.
that's something that she just heard. So maybe
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would definitely look that up because on my YouTube, I've had a lot of people stumble upon my angel videos because they've heard the angel name in their mind. So I have one specifically that's done really well is
mm.
Archangel Raziel, and I have a video on him, and so many people have found that video because they've heard that name. So we definitely wanna listen to that and honor that.
Ah,
Yeah, and
yeah, because
also
those are
our Christian
messages
angels have
from
names, they all have names, so there's lots of options out there.
and, if people are curious about, and, like you said, you just ask, but do you have like a specific, I don't know, prayer, or because people wanna know, like, maybe I don't meditate that well, or I don't know what prayer is. Could you maybe guide them through that
So you can
process?
keep it as simple as, "Angels, please help me with this." Done. And it's done.
Okay.
And so they literally will step in to help. Sometimes people will say, okay, so I asked for this, I invited this help in, and they will be disappointed with the way that things have developed after asking for the help. So I think that this is important to touch on because people struggle with this a lot. Like, Christy, you said the angels would help me, and I asked, and this thing happened, and this fell apart over here, and I'm not happy with how they helped me, or maybe they didn't help me at all. And I would say that the angels help us in the ways that we need, not in the ways that we want. And these two things can look very different because a lot of times that want is going to come from our ego, and the angels are operating from a place of what it is that our soul needs, what our best soul path is requiring. And so those two things can look really, really different. And so you may find that you actually get the opposite of what it is that you asked for, but know that whatever's happening is happening for your highest and best good. So if you've invited the angels into that and things are developing, that's they are stepping in and they are helping, but it's helping in a way that is actually for you. And typically we'll see with a little bit of time and a little bit of perspective that, okay, they really were helping me. I'm so glad that that situation fell apart or that that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, because now I see that had that gone the way that I wanted it to, this over here would not have worked out. And I also think too, people get frustrated with it, but some things take time, especially great things take time sometimes. Like if we have
Mm.
these bigger manifestations that we're wanting to create, that sometimes is going to take some time. That requires a lot more orchestration on their end. They need to like, I just like think about them having to like move people around and make situations happen and all of that. And so the greater things are going to take more time sometimes. Sometimes we'll get that instant, immediate manifestation of something, but other times we will see that it's going to take a little bit of time. So we also need to lean in and trust the process. But while you're trusting the process, it's okay for you to say, hey, angels, can you shoot me some signs to show me that you're helping, to show me that I'm on the right track, to show me that I'm being supported. And they're more than happy. In fact, I think that they really love to show us those signs and that support.
Absolutely. And I get my students to record their own book of signs and symbols. So they are crystal clear about what's coming in for them.
Yes,
I
absolutely. I
mean, it
call it
takes
a magic
practice.
book. Yeah, I have people write
A
down their
what?
magic, right? I call it a
Oh,
magic book, so I
magic.
have people
Gotcha.
write down their magic. It's the same idea,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I feel like when we're starting to write that down, we're really starting to work with everything that's happening. We're acknowledging it, and we're, in a sense, expressing gratitude for it. And I always feel like we get more signs, more synchronicities when that's happening, because like they really want to put on a show for us. They're like, okay, I see that you appreciate this. And so we're gonna bump it up. We're gonna be even more extra with the signs that are showing up for you. So I love that. I think that it really contributes in a positive way to just like creating that spiritual connection, and even like that language, right? When we start to write down the signs and the synchronicities and maybe how we've interpreted them or what they mean for us, it really helps us to create that symbol base, because I would say like the language of the angels, the language of the universe is symbols oftentimes. So when we start to say, okay, I found this feather, and for me, that means that the angels are with me, that at other times in your life, when they want you to understand that angels are with you, they're going to put feathers on your path. I just did an event
Mm.
that for me, that is a sign of the angels. I just did an event over the weekend, and it was like a healing with the angels slash yoga class. Like we combined those things together. And at the end, I was
A
standing around
hybrid.
talking to some of the people afterwards. And this feather, we're inside, this feather just floats down from the ceiling for the 3 people that were there to see. I caught it on my finger. And it was just really beautiful. And this confirmation, like, we're here with you. We guided this whole process. And when we start to just acknowledge all of that stuff, the world around us really starts to feel magical, which I absolutely love. I love all of the magic.
Yeah, we are magic. We are the universe.
Yes. Yes.
I
And
mean,
we start to
we are God
understand
with a yeah, with a spark of human.
that.
When
Yes.
when did you stop believing in yourself and the signs? Because the ego will definitely talk you out of it. And, you know, I feel it's really important to lean into the magic, to the wonder, have that childlike wonder. You know, when where the society told you to be the other. So, gratitude and optimism sustains magic. It really
Yes.
does.
Yes. Yeah. And the more that you're just open to it and watching for it, the more you're going to get, and the more that you get, the more you start to really start to connect with this idea that we are very supported here in this world. And I think that that's something that so many of us crave and are feel like we're missing, right? I think like when we're wanting that spiritual
Mm.
connection, a lot of times that's just like, I want to know that I'm supported. I want to know that there's something greater than me that is helping me and is supporting me. And I think that when we start to invite that help in, and then we start to pay attention to the signs and the things that are showing up around us, then we really start to develop that feeling of being supported. That's my favorite part in the work that I do with people, is like when we get to a certain point where they say to me, Christy, you know what? I'm really in this place where I feel like God is real. The universe is real. I feel so supported. And that's my favorite part every single time, because once you truly get there, it's hard to take that away. And it's
It
hard to
really
now
is.
look at the world from these new eyes where it feels so magical and where we feel supported. We don't feel alone anymore.
Absolutely. And that was part of the third eye shutdown as a child. We are all intuitive. We all are intuitive. It was just shut down and you just forgot who you are. So you're just remembering who you are and how divine you are. And like you said, once you light up, I call it the inner Christmas tree, your chakras, the kundalini awakening, the third eye opening, everything lights up. Everything's activated like Star Trek, like let's go. Um it's and there yeah, there is no going back. And why would you want to?
Exactly, exactly. It's I think that it's really boring over there. Like I think about things for me before my spiritual awakening. And in some ways, like there's like
Ah, yes.
some easier stuff that comes along with it because you just don't know, right? But I also feel like it's so magical over here, and there's so much more that's available for us. There's so much more depth that's available for us. You were talking about how you help people to work through the dark night of their soul. And like even that process, while it can be difficult, can be really beautiful because we're doing the work and we're clearing and releasing and we're allowing ourselves to get to a place where we truly can feel the depth of that connection to our light. And that feels really, really different than when I was sleepwalking my way through life.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and just being a light. I mean, that alone, when I want to talk about the dark night of soul, like we were talking about your spiritual awakening and how you were seeing dark things, you were at that, I call it the hero's journey. You're at that tipping point, that the edge of greatness where the light is here and the dark is here. And it's almost like the dark is still trying to grab at you because they can see your light. And they're like, no, it's not working. So many, and that's why I take people through 12 weeks because 6 week is at the tipping point where, oh my God, I got epiphanies and aha moments and all these magical things happen. And then something happens. And that's part of the spiral of healing. It's up, right? Always up. So it's, if someone's in that right now, I want you to hold on and stay strong and reach out to people, places, and things that give you light, that bring you
I think
light, that
absolutely here, especially in this eclipse energy, this collective energy, there's an intensity to it. It's bringing us where we're
mm,
meant to be. I would say eclipses have this way of like picking us up out of the things that no longer align for us, and they put us back down where we're meant to be on our best life path. But there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of intensity, and we're processing a lot with our bodies, with like you said, the Schumann resonance and the solar flares and just all of these downloads and upgrades we're receiving. So there's a lot happening, but it's really leading us into some really amazing things. And I think right now, what the priority needs to be is on being intentional with coming back to our light as often as we possibly can. In fact, that's the advice I get the most from the angels. Whenever I ask about something and I feel like I'm having a difficult time with something, they tell me to be intentional about coming back to my light. Whatever you can do to keep coming back to your light. Don't let yourself dive into all of that stuff, get caught up in stuff that doesn't really matter. Please just keep coming back to your light. Just keep coming back to your light so that we can allow ourselves to keep navigating through this and feel like maintain that feeling of support and connection, because that is the exact thing that's going to carry us through this. It's bringing us into some really beautiful places, but I think a lot of people are having a hard time right now as they're trying to find their way through all of this craziness and chaos, that it can seem like craziness and chaos anyway.
yeah, as the siren goes by. Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Another
yes.
note from the universe. Love it. And speaking from, about Notes of the Universe, Mike Dooley. I love his stuff. I love Kyle Gray stuff. So when you're talking about coming back to light, for me, it's always about being grounded, being outside every day, being with animals and all these plants and music and meditation and yoga and high vibrational food. Those are just some of the things for me that keep me shiny
Yeah, and that's it. I love that
in a world that
shiny.
wants to dull you. So, did you
Yeah.
want to share? Yeah.
And I think like, and that's like, it gets to be as simple as that too, is having that list of things that for you personally, you respond well to, that helps you to come back to your light. And so we can kind of
Yeah,
like
and
try different things and see. I think we've been learning that collectively actually in the past few years is like, what are my coping tools? What brings me back to my light? What helps me to feel supported? And I always say to people, pay attention to your vibrational diet. How do you respond to the things in your world? How do you respond to certain foods that you eat? If it makes you feel down and low, probably not going to be a food that you want to eat very often. How do you respond when you interact with certain people? How does that make you feel? You're going to want to
right.
surround yourself with those people that you feel lighter with, especially during these times when the collective energy feels heavier. I love, like, for me, it's all about laughter with my vibration. If I can get to that place where I'm like around people or circumstances that give me that opportunity to just like laugh and be silly, that really quickly helps me to bring my vibration back up to a place that I prefer it to be at. And like all of those other things, going for connecting with the earth, like you were saying, hiking, walking, that is so key for me. Or any kind of exercise movement is really key for me because it always helps me to clear out any heavy negative energy. And it also helps me to feel like my vibration is in a better place. It's one of my favorite strategies for coping and navigating heaviness.
Yeah, because heaviness is temporary, and if you don't move that energy, then it becomes something else,
Mhm.
whether it's depression, anxiety, having some type of disease manifest. So it's really, really key. And I know many of us, working with the angels and all of that will very much help you with your any people pleasing, any codependency, just fawning or having those stress responses. You can bring the angelic team to help remove what is an illusion, because really that's what this world is.
Mhm. Yeah, you can ask for help with all of it. I've been really strongly encouraging people lately to ask the angels to help them with their fear. Right? Please heal my fear-based thoughts.
Mm.
I've been doing that a lot before sleep because I think for all of us, that fear is trying to come in and tell us some stuff that's not true and prevent us from continuing to ascend and get to the best places possible in our lives.
Yeah, and it's like that group think. Like
Mhm.
Eckhart Tolle had a video about mindful, like your thoughts, monkey mind, or mindful, being present. Going, oh, I see that thought. No, that's not who I am. Oh, goodbye, old friend. Actually, you're not a friend. You're just someone that I used to know. Good song. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess if is there anything else that well, I usually ask my guests two questions. What does magic mean to you is the first one.
Oh, I love that. Magic is like so my thing. So magic to me is just that connection to all of the things that are beyond this illusion that is this world, right? Is that connection to God, to source, to help, to our ability as a co-creator here in this world to create our experience on earth. So it's really all of those things.
Lovely. I love that. I
Yeah.
always think of just alchemy. That for me, it's just easy. I love the whole gold thing. Yeah. And how can we as a collective energy help make your dreams come true? What's your big whale Moby Dick of a dream? We all have one.
Mm. I've always just said I want to shine my light on the world, you know? So for me, it's just about the messages that I really feel this strong need to come through me to connect with exactly the right people who need to connect with them. And that means the world to me. So whenever somebody reaches out to me and says, what you said was really helpful for me, or even better, it allowed me to make really important changes in my life so that I can live a better life for myself. Like that's the dream. And that's what together with the angels and with God is being created. So I love it all.
Wonderful. I love that. And do you have a gift for everyone here today
Yes, I
or
have
something
a
you'd like to share?
free angel guide. So for anybody who's wanting to learn more about the archangels and what they help with, I have a free angel guide that will be, you connect that with this in the notes, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I
Mhm.
also have all of the ways to get a hold of you, your website, your membership site, and then Christy Clarity on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I believe I've
Mhm.
got them all.
Yep, that looks
So if
right.
you want to reach out, yeah, if you want to reach out there and grab your free gift and learn more about Christy and more about the angels, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today, or you want to leave with anyone who's listening, watching?
Yeah, I think it's just to I think right now it's so important for us to be kind to one another and to be kind to ourselves. I think that people are going through a lot right now. There's a lot that's happening in this energy. And so if we can just kind of take that pause and try to be a little bit kinder to ourselves in the way that we speak to ourselves, in the way that we take care of ourselves.
Mm.
This is such an important time of self-care and honoring ourselves, honoring our intuition, and also extending that to one another, because connection to me is really the key to changing the world. And so as we are kind to ourselves and to one another, we're changing the world together.
Absolutely. I mean, we're a community. We're a tribe. We're a collective. And Gitte is wishing everyone a beautiful Easter because that's
Oh,
coming
thank
up
you
as
so
well. So
much.
yeah, everyone have a beautiful Easter. It's a Easter week, and I'm always aware of the sacrifice that was made for us as a collective. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, Christy, and I look forward to learning more about the angels and about you. And take care of yourself, everyone. As well, I just want a few of you to know about our Soul Healers community. And it is completely free. I do have a paid option as well. And if you're looking for more authentic connections, I host them monthly. And it's a free safe space for empaths as well. I have many courses. This is one of them, Harness Your Energy, because really that's what it's about. Once you learn about your chakras, your Kundalini awakening, then your third eye will come on board. As well, I have a 1-year program about your purpose, specifically working with me one-on-one or in a group. And then this is the part where you're unleashing your magic in the 12-week experience. So really coming on board. And if you would like my Oracle deck, I do have a digital deck that is out right now, the Empath Journey. The physical deck is coming, and this is the QR code for it. So if you want to scan that, I'd love to help you either way. And of course, my Dark Night of the Soul Spiritual Awakening book is out. My second book is in process writing as we speak. So either way, I also work with animals and animal communication. I get a lot of clients that are not sure what's wrong with their pets, or why they need to go on medication, or what their purpose is in this life. I'm happy to work with all of you. And this is another course that I'm taking people through, empath and narcissist, because that is a huge bond, a trauma bond. It's really about healing the power forever. And my 5 tips to becoming bully proof. I've had so much feedback on that. I mean, I wish I had this when I was a kid growing up being bullied. This will shut down any bully in your life, whether they're kids or they're adults. And we know there's lots of those out there. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Take care of yourself. And until next time.